Coming up, authorities in Joplin released the name of a Tuesday afternoon shooting victim.
Plus, we're watching more shower and thunderstorm chances building in. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And we'll tell you about a federal meals program that makes sure kids in Kansas don't go hungry during the summertime.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
It's very 5 a.m.
Yes, it is.
Very 5 a.m. I'm Chris Warner, and we do have more rain chances. It's nice to keep saying that.
Yay.
It's been nice to be able to say it several times. So Skywatch Storm Tracker shows us this nice little batch of showers and thunderstorms off to our northwest. It will progressively move in. On the local level, you can see out by Chanute, we've got some showers, maybe a few storms in there as well. And out further west, we've got more showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder. These will continue to increase. We're going to go over these a little bit later, but this is just one of a small handful of severe weather reports we got yesterday. Remember yesterday afternoon, we started to see some strong severe thunderstorms, and we have that same possibility today. Now, the good news is any overall risk is very low. The greatest risk we have, you can see in the brown on the far right map if you're looking straight at your television. It's just for some wind, kind of like yesterday. We saw some wind, some hail in McDonald County, but mostly wind threats. And that's kind of how it's breaking down for today. 7th and range line, it's looking pretty good. 77 degrees is where we're at. Feels like 79. I don't know if you've noticed, if you haven't been outside yet, it's pretty darn muggy. Dew point 71, humidity is 82%. And across the area, that's what we're looking at too. We're all in the lower to mid 70s to start the day. The good news is this is day one of temperatures not coming close to 100 degrees, which is wonderful. Dew points out there are very high though, so it is still pretty darn muggy. We're in that muggy, sticky range. Some of us even getting into that soupy range. Quick look at the rest of the day. Shower and thunderstorm chances once again increasing. Temperatures pushing maybe the low 90s, otherwise upper 80s. For afternoon highs. Overnight tonight, hanging out in the 70s with continued thunderstorm chances increasing. And then, of course, we'll see some more come tomorrow. And they're going to stick with us through at least Sunday before there's changes once again in the forecast. And we'll break down all those changes a little later.
Of course, that applause was coming from me because I'm super excited finally to have a day where we're not reaching into those triple digits.
Yeah, and thankfully, we've got a few days where we're not going to be reaching into the triple digits. And I know that's relief everybody's been looking forward to. It's here. We talked about it all last week, and now it's actually here. So, despite
the humidity with it, that maybe a little bit more now, it just mentally, we know that it's not triple digits.
Yeah, we know it's not as bad as it has been. We know by the smell of the rain, the fact our car is a little wet, our grass is a little wet.
Yeah,
it's nice.
That's all right. I can handle that.
Me too.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, authorities released the name of a man who was shot in Joplin Tuesday afternoon. Police received a call of gunshots at 1201 East Hill Street before 4 on Tuesday, and that's where they found 47-year-old Daniel Samuels of Joplin with gunshot injuries. Authorities now say he is in stable condition. Police have not made any arrest. A Joplin woman is accused of firing a gun from one car towards a person in another car. Police arrested 20-year-old Cameron McCain at a Joplin home. They say a caller reported that McCain fired a gunshot at her from a car at the intersection of 7th Street and South Wall Avenue in Joplin just before midnight Tuesday night. No one was hurt. A pedestrian is dead after she was struck by a motorcycle near Racine, Missouri. Authorities say 32-year-old Johanna DeRose of Racine was on foot on Route K on Tuesday when she was hit by a bike driven by Nicholas Livermore of Racine. DeRose died at the scene. Livermore was in serious condition. A Joplin woman is sentenced for killing a Joplin couple in a DWI crash. Authorities say in January of last year, Rita Glasgow was intoxicated when she drove a stolen pickup into an SUV. Terry and Rhonda Koppel of Joplin both died from injuries in that crash. And now a judge has sentenced Glasgow to 23 years in prison for driving while intoxicated. Glasgow is already serving a 7-year prison sentence for other drug crimes. The sentences will run at the same time. Well, a statue honoring Amelia Earhart is unveiled in Statuary Hall at the Capitol. With the addition of Earhart, the Statuary Hall collection will now have 11 women represented out of 100 total statues. Each state is represented by 2 statues, and Amelia Earhart was chosen by Kansas to replace Kansas Senator John James Ingalls. This year is the 90th anniversary of Earhart's landmark solo flight across the Atlantic, as well as the 125th anniversary of her birth in Kansas. The other Kansas statue is of Dwight D. Eisenhower. Well, Freeman Hospital in Joplin is hosting a health academy for high school students who are interested in health care. Participants job shadowed a variety of different positions throughout the hospital. Students had to apply to enter the academy, and one recalled when she got her acceptance email.
I was super excited. Even whenever they sent out the test email to make sure it was working, I snatched my phone from somebody who was playing a game just because they said it was the Freeman Health Academy. I was jumping in class. And I finally got the approval when I was at the lake house, and I was bragging to all my family about it.
When the week is over, the students will receive a certificate stating they completed the academy. Coming up at 6, KOAM's own Amber Jenkins takes a closer look at this story. Well, free or reduced lunch provided by schools are a necessity for some students during the school year. But what happens when students go home for summer? Federal Summer Meals Program has provided box meals to 11 sites around Kansas to help solve this hunger issue. Students or their guardian are able to pick up a box once a week from the nearest site. And as of yesterday, the Girard, Kansas volunteers at the public library have served a total of 1,060 boxes to local youth this summer.
All of our programs, summer reading programs, our family game nights, our food program, all our numbers have starting to increase. We're still, doing all the social stuff that we should be doing on the distancing. But I think people are just ready to be back and out doing things.
Wednesday was the last day the Girard site is serving boxes for the summer. To find a site near you or to learn more, you can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Coming up later in the show, our own Bella Lyons serves up more on this story. Well, there's no better way to beat this heat than to create a sweet treat. And local Children's Miracle Network champion Nora Beechner created her own blizzard at Dairy Queen to promote the network's upcoming Miracle Treat Day. Dairy Queen is providing an opportunity to donate to CMN, and all you have to do is buy a frozen treat from Dairy Queen today.
It's very exciting to me. I'm very glad to help other kids.
Nora's blizzard was cookie dough, Oreo, caramel, and a little bit of cotton candy. Tonight there will also be a car show and a family fun night at the 32nd Street Dairy Queen. That runs from 5 to 8 p.m.
That sounds like a pretty good treat for a day. Like today,
It's
stay
like all
inside.
of her favorites in one blizzard.
Yeah, I like
it.
that. That's one they need to add permanently. We are starting the day pretty nice. No blizzards, though, in our immediate forecast, but plenty of rainfall. Dew points are up there. They're pretty nasty right now, but that's all right. We'll take it in exchange for the rain, which will increase throughout the day. We're kind of dry at the moment. Scattered showers, thunderstorms increasing throughout the day. Highs pushing into maybe the lower 90s, upper 80s, so that's much nicer than what we've been seeing. And later tonight, of course, storm chances stick around, temperatures in the low 70s.
All right, gotta love those chances for rain.
Oh, absolutely. And they stick with us for a while, so.
All right, and that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Joplin Outlaws locked down a spot in the Mink Division playoffs with a win over Jeff City. Now they've got their sights set on a league championship.
Plus, the cost of everything seems to be going up, and that includes the cost of rent, even right here in the 4 states. We want to know if you're paying too much for rent. That's our morning talker.
And we've got the story of a woman who says her Apple Watch saved her life. We'll give you the details after the break. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, the Joplin Outlaws have earned a spot in the Mink League Championship Series. The Outlaws will face the St. Joe Mustangs in a 3-game series to determine this year's league champion. Joplin earned their spot in the championship series by beating Jeff City 4-2 Tuesday night to claim the South Division title. Now they have the tough task of facing a St. Joe team that's won 7 of the last 12 Mink League titles. Here's head coach Gonzalo Gonzalez on winning a division championship and earning a chance at the league title.
It means a lot, especially for the city of Joplin. The community, the city itself has done a great job of supporting us all year long, no matter if it's midweek games or weekend games. So to be able to do it for the city of Joplin and Mr. Raines, who's a great owner, it means a lot to us. I think we're at the point now where these guys are really doing it for each other. I mean, it means something to them. You know, it may be summer ball, but we've all sacrificed to get to this point. So to see these guys playing together and playing for one another, it truly means a lot.
Kansas City Royals finish up their 3-game series with the Angels on Wednesday afternoon. The two teams have split the first 2 games of the series, with each team winning in a shutout. Kansas City aiming for a 4-2 start to the second half of the season. No score in the 5th on the fly ball to right. MJ Melendez crashes hard into the wall. Ball is loose. That turns into an RBI triple. Take another look. Looks bad, but Melendez stays in the game. Didn't get much better for the Royals yesterday. Next batter, Brandon Marsh, goes the other way for the single to score the runner. Angels go up 2-0. Then in the 7th, Andrew Velasquez back to the pitcher, but Dylan Coleman just airmails the toss into space. Run scores on that. Royals drop the game and the series to the Angels, 4-0 the final. As for St. Louis Cardinals, they aim to avoid a 3rd straight loss against the Blue Jays. The Cards are without both Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, who are unvaccinated and couldn't make the trip to Canada. That one over. Cardinals win it 6-1. Albert Pujols, huge night for St. Louis, going 3 for 4 with a double, a home run, and 3 RBIs. Kansas City first full team practice on Wednesday at training camp in St. Joe. Fans got a first chance to see and hear from some of the team's new players. On the defensive side, safety Justin Reed talked about coming over from Houston and being part of a Chiefs defense with plenty of new faces.
This is a new look defense, you could say. We have a lot of new faces coming in, being and starting, and a lot of guys who are gritty and been hungry for the opportunity to prove their worth and show who they are as players. So we want to be an attitude defense. We want to come out and set the tempo. We want to be physical. We want to be dominant. When it comes down to the end of the game, when we have a lead, we want to be the ones that finish it and not have to rely on offense to go out and do anything.
Still to come, the U.S. may be looking to dangle a prisoner swap with Russia for 2 detained Americans, one of which is WNBA star Brittany Griner. Plus, we're going to take a look at your full forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Wake up and have that morning cup of coffee, get ready for the day, and head out onto the roads. We are going to see some scattered storms, which is going to lead to some wet conditions. If you're on I-44, we got good storm chances through most of the day, so you will definitely want to be looking out. However, if you're on the west side of things, you get a little break this afternoon in southeast Kansas, but you're going to run into some showers and storms in the first part of the day as you head out the door. And those storm chances will continue to increase through the day and nowhere near as hot as what it has been. And it's going to stick with us through at least Sunday with nice temperatures through then. But then by the time we hit August, temps return to the 90s. So take a look at Skywatch Storm Tracker. There's actually a severe thunderstorm warning up here in Kansas. All of this is eventually going to make its way down into our area, and even locally, we're dealing with some thunderstorms. This is northwestern Crawford County. Some lightning, a little bit of thunder out there this morning. We'll talk more in depth later about some of the storm reports because we did see some severe storms yesterday, and we may see some strong to possibly severe storms again today. Very low risks for tornadoes or any kind of hail. The best chance we have, anything that gets nasty could produce some winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. Quick look at the current conditions. 77 in Joplin, a little bit on the muggy side out there. We're all sitting in the lower 70s to mid 70s. All of us pretty muggy because those dew points are definitely up there. Quick check of today. So you head out the door. Storm chances will increase. Temperatures topping out in the lower 90s, maybe not even quite that high. And as we head into the overnight, things look pretty good as well. Thunderstorm chances continue increasing as the night goes on, and as we start Friday, lows in the lower 70s. Well, the realty company CoStar Group says rent prices are climbing nationwide. It's not as bad here as in some places, but prices are still higher than they were a couple of years ago. KOAM's Yana Hatula spoke with a Joplin woman who's been struggling to find affordable housing.
If you're not taking care of it and it's been empty all this time, but I'm expected to when I move in, like how is that even fair?
Janae from Joplin says she's having trouble finding a quality house at a reasonable price. Since 2019, the rent prices in Jasper County have went up 5%. Janae says there needs to be more balance between what you pay for and what you get.
You see all these places that are for rent and you're like, okay, cool, like it's within my budget, like yeah, and then you go out and look at it and it's like, I don't want to live here. This one place didn't have, paint was chipping, the bathtub had black like mold stains like all through it. Like no one's gonna rent a place like that.
Janae has been living with friends while she has been looking for places on Facebook Market for about 4 months now. Becky Wooderman of the Purpose Home Repair in Joplin, an organization that helps Joplin's homeless community, says the issue with the quality of housing can come down to supply and demand, with landlords knowing they have the supply.
They kind of got everybody over a barrel. It's like, well, I know I can rent to the next person, so I don't need to lower my rent here or do something extra for them because they know somebody else is going to be knocking on their door tomorrow wanting to look at the place.
Wooderman says the issue isn't easy to solve. Stricter rules and more city inspections on properties could be a catch-22.
Monthly inspections or quarterly inspections on all these rental properties to see if the landlord's keeping them up. But if they fail one, then they have to condemn the property or evict these people from where they're living because the place is not sanitary or something like that. And then it just increases a more homeless problem.
In Joplin, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
According to CoStar Group estimates, since 2019, rent prices have risen less in Crawford and Newton counties. Mortgage rates might also climb higher after the Fed's latest interest hike. That brings us to our question to you. You feel like you're paying too much for rent? Yes or no? You can vote, KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. Do so in the KOAM News Now app and take part in the discussion on Facebook. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a Maine woman who is recovering from surgery credits her Apple Watch for saving her life. Ken McLeod has more.
Kim Durkee swears by it now, but she didn't believe her Apple Watch for the first couple of nights in late May when it woke her up warning that her heart was in atrial fibrillation.
And the third night, the numbers went a little too high for comfort. And I just went, you know what? Go to the emergency room. If they tell you it's nothing to worry about, then toss the watch.
Doctors in Maine soon confirmed that her heart was beating erratically for a simple and scary reason. She had a myxoma, a rare, fast-growing tumor that was choking off her heart's blood supply and would have eventually caused a stroke.
And they said, well, how did you know you had AFib? And I said, because my watch told me.
She had no other symptoms besides the AFib, but quickly made arrangements for a trip to Mass General, where she underwent surgery on June 27th, and doctors removed a 4-centimeter tumor.
I consider myself to be extremely lucky to be here and talking to you.
The 67-year-old bought the watch to help monitor her exercise regimen and summon emergency help should she fall. She never dreamed the watch featuring Minnie Mouse would help diagnose a deadly tumor. Ken McLeod for CBS News, Boston.
Myxomas are more common in women than men. About 1 in 10 are inherited or passed down through families, now according to the National Institutes of Health. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
So yesterday's storms actually brought us some severe weather. You recall seeing Doug talking about this. We had one hail report in McDonald County, but everybody else experiencing severe wind. There was some damage reported, nothing significant, but damage nonetheless. And of course, if it was damage to your property, then it was definitely significant to you. We may see strong storms again today. Tornado hail risk very low, but we do have a chance for more wind, gusty wind storms, if you will, winds in excess of 60 with some of the storms we may see. Quick check of the temperature, 77 in Joplin, a little bit muggy. All of us sitting in the 70s and muggy. And through the day, here we go. Storm chances will continue. They'll increase, highs topping out in the lower 90s, overnight lows dropping back into the lower 70s with more storm chances, and they're going to stick with us until Sunday. More of your forecast and more news when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Coming up, authorities in Joplin released the name of a Tuesday afternoon shooting victim.
Storms yesterday leaving us with some severe weather and even some damage reports. Could we see the same today? The latest in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And we'll tell you about a federal meals program that makes sure kids in Kansas don't go hungry during the summer.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. We did see some strong, severe thunderstorms last night, mainly south of I-44, and they did actually leave some damage in their wake. A real quick check, we'll not go through all of these, but the yellowish icons there are wind damage reports, whereas that one blue one in McDonald County is a hail report, but they also reported a swimming pool got knocked over. But you go into Berry County and take a look. Purdy, microburst winds damaged 2 farm outbuildings, dozen trees, knocked down some power lines around Purdy, and there was also 2 poultry houses that were damaged as well by the severe thunderstorm wind gusts. And we do have a continued chance for some stronger storms today. A tornado and hail risk are extremely low, but as you can see on the wind side, a good chunk of us could see these storms get a little nasty later on, maybe bring us some strong wind gusts. Right now, though, 7th and range line looking pretty good. I was trying to watch because there's some thunderstorms up in Crawford County, and sometimes, oh yeah, there it is. You can see the lightning off in the distance. Right now in Joplin, though, storm staying away, 77, and rest of us sitting in the 70s as we start our day. Dew points are up there, though, so it is a muggy start to the day, hence, the increasing rain chances, and they'll stick with us through the rest of the day. Highs pushing to about 90 degrees, overnight lows in the 70s, and rain now all the way through Sunday. Let me rephrase. Rain chances. That makes it sound like it's continuous rain for the next day. It's rain chances, scattered storms all the way through Sunday before summer returns.
All right, well, I'm planning a trip to the drive-in Sunday evening, so I'm kind of hoping that all the rain happens before we get there.
Well, the only problem is it is the summertime, and you know how we get about pop-up storms, so that does happen.
I want it to rain, but not while we're there.
Don't take a convertible.
That's a good idea.
I saw the movie Christine. They watched, they were at a drive-through during a rainstorm.
Oh, in a convertible?
No, thankfully. Have you ever seen Christine?
No, I haven't.
It's a horror movie about a possessed car.
Oh.
It's worth watching. Maybe not one of the world's greatest, but it's a good cult classic, and I like it. So
all right,
it's a
I'll
good one.
have to check it out. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, authorities released the name of a man who was shot in Joplin Tuesday afternoon. Police received a call of gunshots at 1201 East Hill Street before 4 on Tuesday, and that's where they found 47-year-old Daniel Samuels of Joplin with gunshot injuries. Authorities now say he is in stable condition. Police have not made any arrest. A summer meal program funded by the United States Department of Agriculture is helping feed Kansas youth this summer. KOAM's Bella Line has the details.
With reduced or free lunches only being available during the school year, the Kansas Food Bank has partnered with Feeding America to deliver free food boxes to 11 sites around Kansas this summer. The Girard Public Library is one site that has been very successful with the program. According to the Kansas Food Bank, so far the site served 1,060 boxes this summer.
So it's all food that a child can get out of the pantry themselves and eat. It's not something that someone has to prepare for them. So, if the kids are home by themselves for the summer or they just want some snacks, it helps with family food budget. It helps feed the kids through the summer, give them a little extra to eat, and then there's families that kind of depend on the food.
The program is federally funded by the USDA but does not require a registration process to be eligible. The only requirement is a waiver that the guardian must bring with them to pick up their boxes each week, and neither the child or guardian are required to live in the town of one of the 11 sites.
I think right now we're all suffering. Gas is extremely high. I drive a 12-passenger van, so it cost me over $120 to fill it up. So all those other expenses. Today I went to buy bleach to clean out our trash cans, and they went from 97 cents to $5.52 for a gallon of bleach. So this is just a great resource that's free from the community, and you can come in and get a box of snacks and food to help your family.
The program has continued to bring in families from all over southeast Kansas to Girard because of the limited site locations. But while parents or guardians grab the children a box, they're able to use the public library's facilities.
Having it at the library, my kids are so excited to come in and go to the library and do things there too. So I think it's just drawing people in from the community.
In Girard, Kansas, I'm Bella Line, KOAM News.
Well, yesterday was the last day that the Girard site was serving boxes for this summer. To learn more, you can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Ronald McDonald House in Joplin celebrates its 24th birthday. In the months leading up to the 24th anniversary, the organization launched a 24/7 support campaign. Campaign celebrates and honors the quality shown by supporters 24/7, 365 days for the past 24 years.
So today we're really honoring our guests who are guests with us here. You know, we have a guest that's going home with her twins. That's always a celebratory note. Yes.
To learn more about the 24-year program, you can go to the Ronald McDonald House Facebook page.
Taking a look at the radar, and you can see over in Crawford County, we got a little thunderstorm there. We've had a couple of lightning strikes associated with it, but nothing too crazy yet. Storms will increase through the day, so let's go ahead and take a look at the future track, and we'll see those storms go ahead and start to develop. They're going to push on through. We're going to make it maybe into the lower 90s. 5 o'clock today, some scattered storms. As we head through the overnight, more scattered storms. As we head into tomorrow, more scattered storms. So you can see they are scattered. We're not talking total washouts or anything like that, but we will all get in on the rain action over the next several days, which is something we desperately need. And we're also all going to get in on the cooler temperatures as well. We're talking highs in the 80s the next few days.
That's good. Well, this morning we are discussing the high price of rent. According to the realty company CoStar Group, rent prices are climbing nationwide, and while they aren't as bad here as in some places, prices are still higher than they were a couple of years ago. CoStar Group estimates since 2019, rent prices have risen less in Crawford and Newton counties, but that doesn't mean they haven't risen. In Jasper County, for example, rent prices have gone up 5%, and that can be an even tougher pill to swallow when the quality of the rental property doesn't match the quantity of the price tag.
So our question to you, are you paying too much for rent? Simple yes or no. So far, 67% of you say you're not. Meanwhile, 33% of you say you are. You can vote at KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. Do so in the KOAM News Now app, and of course, take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
And some of those no's might be people who are not renting at all.
That's a possibility. That is a possibility. Now it's actually gone up to 75% of you say no. 25% saying yes.
We might need to add an extra category in there.
It's a possibility.
I do not rent.
I mean, right. You know, I'll be honest. The rent we pay is actually reasonable for the house that we have. But I know exactly, you know, what this is talking about. There are plenty. That box is going to get me one day. There are plenty of homes, not just in Joplin, but in the area that are older. They're not in the greatest shape, and the rent amounts for them are outrageous.
Well, and you'll notice location is a big deal when it comes to rent prices too. You'll go closer to a campus or university, and then the prices will be considerably higher than they will on more of the outskirts.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the trouble we face is we've got older homes that are not in great shape, but the market's hot, so rent can be high because they know that people are desperate for housing regardless. And then we've got some newer homes, though, where the rent's going to be high by default. It's a side effect, too, of the Joplin tornado. I mean, it took out a lot of older homes in the city that were rental properties. Now they're newer. And so, and this is at no fault of the landlord. It's just, it's a newer home. It costs them more money to build, so rent's going to be higher for houses that, 20 years ago may have been a bit cheaper in that same area because they were older.
They got to pay property taxes and everything, too. All right, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. We've got a double shot of entertainment news for you, including a preview of the upcoming Weird Al movie.
Plus, we're going to take a look at how Netflix plans to develop a Gray Man universe. Stick around for that.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, the U.S. is hoping Russia accepts a major deal to exchange a convicted Russian arms dealer for two Americans held by Russia, Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says in the coming days he expects to speak with the Russian foreign minister for the first time since the war in Ukraine began. Meredith Wood has the latest.
Raise an issue that's a top priority for us. The release of Americans Paul Whelan and Brittany Griner, who've been wrongfully detained and must be allowed to come home.
Wednesday, Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced a proposed deal to make a prisoner swap with Russia to bring WNBA star Brittany Griner and former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan back to the U.S. Sources say the Biden administration is attempting to exchange Victor Bout, a convicted Russian arms trafficker serving a 25-year sentence in a U.S. prison.
We, of course, want to see those who are wrongfully detained be released and be able to return home. We've demonstrated with Trevor Reed, who came home a few months ago, that the president is prepared to make tough decisions.
Prisoner swaps gaining no momentum since U.S. citizen Trevor Reed was released from a Russian prison after more than 2 years for a drunken incident where he was convicted of endangering a Russian police officer, a charge which Reed denied. Wednesday morning, Griner testifying in a Russian courtroom for her trial on drug charges. Griner says she has no intentions of smuggling drugs into the country, adding when she stopped at a Moscow airport, she was told to sign different documents without fully understanding what they were.
I think you can expect to hear me in the weeks and months ahead speak more to the efforts that we're making to reinforce this global norm against arbitrary detention to deter countries from doing this in the first place.
I'm Meredith Wood reporting.
Japanese authorities executed a man on Tuesday who was convicted of killing 7 people in a stabbing rampage in Tokyo's Akihabara Electronics District in 2008. In June of 2008, Tomohiro Kato drove a truck into a crowd of people in the busy shopping district and then stabbed passers-by, killing 7 people and injuring 10 others. The execution is the second death sentence that has been carried out under the administration of Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Capital punishment is usually reserved for those who have committed multiple murders. All executions are carried out by hanging. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities released the name of a man who was shot in Joplin Tuesday afternoon. Police received a call of gunshots at 1201 East Hill Street before 4 Tuesday. That's where they found 47-year-old Daniel Samuels of Joplin with gunshot injuries. Authorities now say he is in stable condition. Police have not made any arrest. Free or reduced lunch provided by schools are a necessity for some students during the school year, but what happens when students go home for summer? The federal Summer Meals program has provided boxed meals to 11 sites around Kansas to help solve this hunger issue. Students or their guardian are able to pick up a box once a week from the nearest site. As of yesterday, the Girard, Kansas volunteers at the public library have served a total of 1,060 boxes to local youth this summer. A statue honoring Amelia Earhart was unveiled in Statuary Hall at the Capitol. With the addition of Earhart, the Statuary Hall collection will now have 11 women represented out of 100 total statues. Each state is represented by 2 statues. And Amelia Earhart was chosen by Kansas to replace Kansas Senator John James Ingalls. This year is the 90th anniversary of Earhart's landmark solo flight across the Atlantic, as well as the 125th anniversary of her birth in Kansas. The other Kansas statue is of Dwight D. Eisenhower. When you think of beer and gorillas, those 2 words may not go together, but Pitt State is set to have its first officially licensed beer with Jolly Fox Brewery called the Golden Gorilla Ale. The beverage will be out this August, just in time for the football season. Now, before you head out the door.
We had some strong storms yesterday. It left behind a few damage reports, and we may see some strong storms again today. Tornado and hail risk very low, but as you can see, we may all see some of these storms pack some winds of 60 miles an hour or slightly greater. 7th and range line, it is pretty cloudy right now. 77 is where we're starting in Joplin. Most of us starting in the 70s today. And the rain chances will increase. It's also a very muggy start to the day, too. We've got these dew points sitting into the 70s as well. So I noticed that as soon as I walked out the door, man, that air was thick this morning. Thunderstorm chances continue through the day. Highs pushing to about 90, 91 degrees with a gusty south breeze. Then we head into the night and no change. Storms stick around. Better chances for more widespread storms come, gosh darn it, Friday morning. I was going to say Saturday. I'm getting ahead of myself now. In the lower 70s for lows tonight. Quick look at the future track shows where those storms are going to be scattered. They're just going to keep pushing through today. Here they are again later this evening. Then they'll be back tomorrow morning, and they're going to be back tomorrow afternoon. So there'll be pauses in between each of these breaks of storms, and then they'll build right back in again. And the 7-day forecast shows those storm chances sticking around. Our best chances again later today into tomorrow, but they'll be with us Saturday and Sunday, possibly early Monday as well. Overnight lows are looking nice in the 60s, and then check it out, Monday night 78, Tuesday night 79, because the summer returns. August greets us with 100-degree temperatures once again. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Daniel Radcliffe trades his Harry Potter glasses for some much larger ones for his upcoming movie role.
Rick Damigella has that story and more.
Hope you guys are ready for this.
It's time to get weird. Roku has revealed the release date for Weird, the Al Yankovic story starring Daniel Radcliffe as the bespectacled accordion player. The biopic debuts on the Roku channel November 4th.
I want to tell you a story. It's a story you may think you know, but you don't.
Netflix has released a preview of Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. The stop-motion animated film stars the voices of Ewan McGregor, Gregory Mann, David Bradley, and Tilda Swinton. The film will play in select theaters in November before streaming on Netflix in December. A pair of milestones for Rick Astley. The pop singer's hit Never Gonna Give You Up celebrates its 35th anniversary this week and has achieved 5 times platinum status according to the RIAA. Rickrolling you in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
You
That was the
called
first
that.
thing I
You
thought. I
called
was
that.
like, we just rickrolled our viewers. That's phenomenal.
I'm jamming out.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing is we jammed out to it before it was cool to use it as a rickroll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, in other movie headlines, a cantankerous old lady arrives in theaters and a spy film expands to more than a franchise.
David Daniel brings us another shot of entertainment news.
Now listen up, millennials.
Where's my knife? Catherine Tate's Nan is storming the big screen. The Nan movie is a full-length feature about the character Tate developed on her comedy sketch show and then in several spin-off specials.
I started playing her when I was, far too young to know what an old lady would be doing. And my intention is to carry on doing it until I no longer need the prosthetic.
The Nan movie is now in theaters.
You hurt?
I mean, my ego's a little bruised.
Maybe this will help. Netflix is going all in on The Gray Man. The streamer has announced it's developing a sequel to the action movie with star Ryan Gosling and directors Joe and Anthony Russo set to return, as well as a spin-off film exploring more of the Gray Man universe. Yep, it's not just a franchise, it's a whole universe. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
I still can't get over the fact that things like Netflix and YouTube are producing movies.
I think it's amazing.
It is. It's just kind of crazy how the world has come so far. All that looks pretty good. Nan looks pretty good too.
That looks funny.
It looks great. It's going to be us when we're older.
Crowd surfing. All right.
Absolutely. Gabe, get over here. We're going to crowd surf right now. It's only one person, but I think we could do it. Right? Okay. He has no idea what we're talking about. That's all right. We'll be right back with another look at your forecast. Well, as you head out on the open road this morning, if you're on the Missouri side of things, along I-44, I-49, you can see we've got some yellow lights. That's because scattered storms, we got a better chance of them lasting the majority of the day, so watch out on your commute for wet roads. Now, if you're on the southeast Kansas side, along 69, this morning, absolutely getting some scattered showers and thunderstorms. A little bit of a break, though, before things really start to pick back up again this afternoon. So, not as hot today. I mean, we're barely going to make 90 degrees. But the better storm chances also begin today, and that wet weather is going to stick with us through at least Sunday, and then August kicking us off the right way, temps in the 90s, even pushing 100. This is what we're looking at. Look at all of this up to our northwest. Look at all of this to our west. We've even had a couple of storms here locally. Nothing crazy yet. but they're there. What we did see yesterday were some strong to severe storms that left behind some damage reports south of I-44, and that's a possibility again today. So tornado and hail risk very low today. However, as you can see, the brown shaded areas, we could see some stronger storms with winds around 60 miles an hour or so. 7th range line looking pretty good. The dark clouds over here, you can see the thunderstorms up in Crawford County. 79 already in Joplin, feeling like 82. Temperatures on the rise where it has not been raining as we're pushing into the upper 70s, and it's a muggy start to the day too with dew points in the 70s. So as we go through the rest of the day, storm chances sticking around, highs topping out about 90, 91 degrees for most of us with a gusty south breeze. Thunderstorm chances stick around tonight as well. Lows dipping off into the lower 70s. And quick look at the future track. This is what we mean by scattered. Now again, this is the computer's interpretation of where these scattered storms are going to be. So just because it shows something right here doesn't mean it's going to be right there. It's just giving you the idea that we will see scattered storms continue as we go through today, as we head into tonight, tomorrow morning, we head into tomorrow afternoon, and by tomorrow afternoon and evening, we actually have better chances of slightly more organized or widespread storms. And look at that 7-day real quick. Thunderstorms sticking with us through Sunday, and then summer returns by the start of next week. We're back after this.
Coming up, a Joplin woman learns her fate after a DWI takes the lives of a couple back in January of 2021.
Showers and thunderstorms rolling into the area, and they are here to stay for a little while. We'll break down your full forecast in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And some gorillas will soon be tipping back some beers. Sound strange? We'll explain.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So that story does sound a bit strange, but
You're intrigued, and now you're going to tune in.
I'm going to stay tuned, and you should too. You really should. So, showers, thunderstorms. It's so great to have something to talk about. I mean, take a look. We've got that big batch off to our northwest along I-70, stretching back through I-35 toward Hays, Kansas. And even locally, we've got some storms out to our west. And we did have a nice little storm in Crawford County. As you can see, it's kind of dying out. But still, rain is falling from the sky, and it is something that we need. Now, we also saw some strong to severe thunderstorms yesterday. Those little marks indicate severe reports. Some of those were actual damage reports from some of the winds in the storms yesterday. And wind is a thing again today. So you can see tornado and hail risk very low. But that brown shade on the far right, that's where we could see some strong to severe wind gusts yet again today with some of these storms. Not all of them, but some of them. The sun is rising, though it is hidden by some clouds. It will officially do so in 19 minutes. And it's warming up. 79 in Joplin feels like 82, and it's a muggy start to the day for everybody. Even though we're in the 70s, it's sticky. That air is thick, and that is because we have these dew points hovering right around the 70s as well, and that gets us into that sticky to muggy, possibly even soupy range for some. As we go through the day, scattered thunderstorm chances sticking around. They're going to bring us that much needed rain. Highs topping out in the lower 90s with a gusty south breeze. And the storms stick around tonight as well. They're not going anywhere, not for a few days. Lows dropping off into the lower 70s. We've got better storm chances tomorrow, and they're going to be with us through at least Sunday, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Because we have needed this rain. And the good news is, so far as you've seen, it's not coming all at once. We're not just getting socked in like St. Louis did, where they were socked in with just rain for hours. We're getting it scattered, and hopefully it'll be scattered enough that flash flooding or flooding of any kind won't be a significant concern. But like we've mentioned, if you get stuck under one of those thunderstorms that drops you a bucket in an hour or so, you could have some temporary flash flooding, definitely something to watch. But otherwise, with it being scattered enough, shouldn't be a big deal.
All right, we'll just keep an eye on it and enjoy the cool down, folks.
Yeah, these temperatures are going to be nice.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, a Joplin woman is sentenced for killing a Joplin couple in a DWI crash. Authorities say in January of last year, Rita Glasgow was intoxicated when she drove a stolen pickup into an SUV. Terry and Rhonda Koppel of Joplin both died from injuries in that crash. And now a judge has sentenced Glasgow to 23 years in prison for driving while intoxicated. Glasgow is already serving a 7-year prison sentence for other drug crimes. The sentences will run at the same time. Authorities released the name of a man who was shot in Joplin Tuesday afternoon. Police received a call of gunshots at 1201 East Hill Street just before 4 on Tuesday, and that's where they found 47-year-old Daniel Samuels of Joplin with gunshot injuries. Authorities now say he is in stable condition. Police have not made any arrest. A Joplin woman is accused of firing a gun from one car towards a person in another car. Police arrested 20-year-old Cameron McCain at a Joplin home. They say a caller reported that McCain fired a gunshot at her from a car at the intersection of 7th Street and South Wall in Joplin just before midnight Tuesday night. No one was hurt. A pedestrian is dead after she was struck by a motorcycle near Racine, Missouri. Authorities say 32-year-old Johanna DeRose of Racine was on foot on Route K Tuesday when she was hit by a bike driven by Nicholas Livermore of Racine. DeRose died at the scene. Livermore was in serious condition. A statue honoring Amelia Earhart is unveiled in Statuary Hall at the Capitol. With the addition of Earhart, the Statuary Hall collection will now have 11 women represented out of 100 total statues. Each state is represented by 2 statues, and Amelia Earhart was chosen by Kansas to replace Kansas Senator John James Ingalls. This year is the 90th anniversary of Earhart's landmark solo flight across the Atlantic, as well as the 125th anniversary of her birth in Kansas. The other Kansas statue is of Dwight D. Eisenhower. Freeman Hospital in Joplin hosts a health academy for high school students who are interested in healthcare. The participants job shadowed a variety of different positions throughout the hospital. Students had to apply to enter the academy. One recalled when she got her acceptance email.
I was super excited. Even whenever they sent out the test email to make sure it was working, I snatched my phone from somebody who was playing a game just because they said it was the Freeman Health Academy. I was jumping in class. And I finally got the approval when I was at the lake house, and I was bragging to all my family about it.
And when the week is over, the students will receive a certificate stating they completed the academy. When you think of beer and gorillas, those two words may not go together. But Pitt State is set to have its first officially licensed beer with Jolly Fox Brewery called the Golden Gorilla Ale. The beverage will be out this August, just in time for the football season.
Just to create something unique for Pittsburgh. A lot of businesses work together in Pittsburgh. Creates a great community environment, and it's enjoyable for everyone.
There are just over 10 universities across the country with an officially licensed beer. Well, some areas have received rain, others remain dry, and some fire officials say they're dealing with a lot of calls about grass fires. KOAM's Shagun Bamadeli has more.
As we continue in one of the hottest summers ever recorded, firefighters are warning about the dangers of grass fires.
What I can tell you right now is we're responding to several grass fires a day. And with the conditions that we're experiencing with the drought, we're having to help our neighbors, and they're having to help us on almost all of those fires. So it becomes a team approach at this point.
Keith Stammer, the director of Joplin-Jasper County Emergency Management, explained why it is a problem.
The problem with grass fires and heat is the heat dries out the grass and it becomes extremely dry, to the point that any kind of a spark can ignite it.
Stammer says there are different causes for the blaze.
Many of the sources of ignition for grass fires include cigarettes, perhaps a hot muffler on a vehicle, somebody deciding to burn when it's unbelievably hot outside and the fire gets away from them.
Stammer also says people should pay attention to anything that can ignite the fire around them. In Joplin, Shagun Bamdele, KOAM News.
Officials say people should avoid burning even when it cools down or rains because it will take time to overcome this drought.
We are starting the day muggy but lower temperatures than what we have seen. Oh my gosh, I completely cut you off, Tanya. I am so sorry.
That's all right, you can do it.
Don't forget to get the KOAM Plus app, okay? It's available free of charge, Google Play Store. Also get the Skywatch Weather app because with these storm chances, you're going to want to keep the Skywatch Weather team handy. because it's going to storm. And like yesterday, we do have a chance for maybe an isolated strong or severe storm today as well. Otherwise, as we go through the day, scattered storms, that's going to be the trend. They're going to be here, then we'll clear out briefly. We get a break, then more scattered storms, a little bit of a break. We head into tomorrow, more scattered storms on top of all of that. And it's something we desperately need, and it's going to bring us some much needed rain. We're still going to push about lower 90s today, but by tomorrow and Saturday, highs approaching about 80 degrees.
That'll be nice.
It will be very nice.
All right, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, if it's Thursday, you know Chef Anthony is headed into Studio K for another quick and easy, delicious recipe. And guess what we're making today?
You told me, ravioli.
Raviolis. Looking forward to that.
Thank goodness we have Chef Anthony here because I didn't know it was Thursday. I thought today was Friday earlier. So now that he's here, I know this. Plus, the Federal Reserve announcing another rate hike and stocks soar on the news.
And the high schoolers of today may be the healthcare workers of tomorrow. Our own Amber Jenkins takes us inside a program designed to show students what the healthcare industry is really like. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, in Connecticut, Danbury police made a shocking discovery while performing a welfare check Wednesday evening. 3 dead children ranging in age from 5 to 12, were found inside a home. The body of an adult female was found inside a shed in the home's backyard. Police arrived on the scene after getting a tip from an unidentified person who was distraught and crying on the phone. Danbury police say they believe the victims are related but are not releasing information on the cause of death. While police have not made any arrests yet, they believe it is an isolated incident and the public is not thought to be in any danger. Investigators don't know what caused an 18-wheeler to crash off a highway through a sound barrier into a man's yard. It happened Wednesday in suburban Atlanta. The big rig was traveling on Interstate 20. The man who owns the home says he was inside when the truck crashed into his yard. He says his house shook like something was jumping on the roof. A group of neighbors rushed over and kept the truck driver conscious until first responders arrived. That driver is expected to be okay. The homeowner says he thinks his insurance policy will cover damage to his yard, but is working to figure out how to get the sound barrier fixed. In central Oklahoma, fire officials say rain is a must to put out a wildfire that sparked evacuations on Wednesday. Fire is burning northeast of the town of Moreland, where it has spread to roughly 18,000 acres. Officials say scorching temperatures and dry conditions have helped fan the flames. Firefighters say terrain is their biggest challenge. The flames diving into deep canyons, making it difficult to reach, and the dry cedar trees acting as fuel. Stocks surged on Wall Street after the Federal Reserve raised its key interest rate target by 0.75 percentage point for the second time in as many months. Investors are hoping the Fed's next interest rate increase will be smaller, while consumers and business owners are anticipating relief from spiraling inflation. Dan Lieberman reports from New York.
The Federal Reserve's hefty rate hike is aimed at giving Americans a break from inflation levels last seen during President Reagan's first term in office.
A dozen eggs is like $5 now, compared to like last year being $2.
Boston area grocery store owner Chris Waller says he can't offer shoppers the kind of sales he used to.
We used to get deals from the vendors where we'd be able to offer these boxes for $1 each, so 10 for $10. But now it's 4 for $5.
After the Fed announced it's raising its benchmark interest rate by 0.75 percentage point, Chairman Jerome Powell said he'll keep working to bring down inflation.
We understand how painful it is, particularly for people who are living paycheck to paycheck and spend most of that paycheck on necessities such as food and gas.
The Fed's move will raise its key rate, which affects many consumer and business loans, to a range of 2.25% to 2.5%, its highest level since 2018.
People who have adjustable rate mortgages, when the adjustment comes, it's probably going to adjust higher.
Wall Street, badly battered so far this year, rallied yesterday amid investor hopes the Fed will begin to ease its war on inflation, which could end up sparking an economic slowdown. But Chairman Powell said another big rate hike could be necessary when the Fed meets again in September. Dan Lieberman, CBS News, New York.
This morning, the government released the second quarter numbers on gross domestic product, which measures the economy's total output. Some economists forecast the economy grew slightly, while others predict it contracted again, as it did in the first quarter. 2 consecutive negative quarters for GDP are traditionally seen as an indication the economy is in recession. That's a look at some of our top national stories. We'll be right back with Chef Anthony Fisher from Pittsburgh High School live in the studio right after this.
Welcome back. We've got Chef Anthony from Pittsburgh High School Culinary Arts in studio this morning with us, and we are making pasta.
We're going to make homemade pasta, show you just how easy and how simple it is to do, and then later this morning we're going to turn that pasta into raviolis.
Oh, sweet.
So first thing that you need is approximately 180 grams of flour, or about a cup and a half.
Cup and a half of flour.
2 eggs right into the middle. Create a little volcano in the middle to hold your eggs.
Okay.
And make sure you don't leave any shell in there.
Yeah, we wouldn't want that. A little crunch in your pasta.
Yeah, it tends to be just a little different. Just a few drops of oil.
Okay. What kind of flour are you using?
I'm just using all-purpose flour. Makes life real easy, real simple for this. You don't have to stress over it. Depending upon what I'm making, I have used bread flour, but you don't want to use things like cake flour or anything softer, less gluten inside of it. Almond flour, a little bit of salt. Almond flour tends to be just a little on the weird side, so you have to be very, very careful with it. But you can do it with almond flour for somebody who's gluten-free.
Okay.
So we have everything we need inside. Now here's where you can actually season up your pasta if you wanted to. All you have to do is add something like this to it. You can add espresso powder to it. You can add cocoa powder to it, and freeze-dried fruits.
Interesting.
If you want to get an underlying flavor, you can do whatever you want to add flavors into it. But we're going to pop our yolks and start in the middle and just start mixing. And we're going to fold the flour up into it. You are going to make a mess with it. It's an inevitability. It is going to happen. So don't even worry. I do this on a cookie sheet just so I can kind of keep the mess contained a little bit. But don't worry about the flour too much. Don't pile on 3 cups of flour with only 2 eggs, knowing that the pasta is only going to take so much flour, because you're going to end up drying it out.
Okay.
So 2 cups is about the magic number. And the most that you can add to this just depends on the quality of your eggs.
You're doing a great job keeping everything in your volcano. Only a little bit of eruption on this side.
Yeah, I love doing this with my students. This is one of the very first things that they learn to make. First kitchen lesson is butchery, and then they roll right into pasta. So it's always an interesting experience when they go through and start making their pasta, because they flavor them. They come up with some great ideas. Cocoa powder with a strawberry simple syrup gives you this nice chocolate covered strawberry
Oh, that's interesting.
style flavor. Not everybody's into the chocolate thing, but we've also used espresso powder to create a coffee base. And as you can see, it's starting to thicken up just a little bit.
Are you going to eventually get all of the flour into there?
Not all the flour is going to go into it. It's only going to take as much as it wants. So you can just work with it a little bit, give it a little bit of finagling. And I always make a mess with this. It doesn't matter. And I've done this with my partners over in Springfield at the ACF, and they always laugh at me because of how big of a mess that I make. But my ratio is 1 to 10. So 1 batch out of 10 doesn't work right, which is better than some of the other professionals that I work with who 1 in 3.
Oh.
So
it seems like a lot of wasted product.
Well, it's just one of those deals. There's a lot with the weather. If you were to try to do this with the heat that's outside, if you don't have air conditioning at home, you're going to have a hard time getting anything to go together. It's going to get real dry real fast. So you just kind of learn to adjust.
What temperature, like 70 degrees?
70, 74 degrees, somewhere in there is a really good temperature to work on with this at.
But if you're trying to make pasta in 90-degree weather.
Yeah, you're going to have a hard time.
Interesting.
So, and there we go. And as you can see, it does stick, but it comes together really nicely. And it's not real hard. And there we have our pasta bowl.
Okay. How many raviolis can you make out of a pasta?
It depends on which size that I make. I think we're going to get probably 6 or 7, maybe 10 out of this.
Okay.
Because we're going to do some really nice stuffed raviolis.
Okay.
So we're not going to cut any corners. But it shouldn't be falling apart on you. If it starts to fall apart on you, then you have too much flour. And then all you have to do is just kind of work it just a little bit more. It should be a little on the soft side, a little softer than Play-Doh.
Okay. So is this this pasta ball ready to work with right away, or do we need to refrigerate it?
We're going to let it sit for 30 minutes.
Let it sit for 30 minutes. Okay.
So it has a chance to rest and come back and pull itself together.
That should time out almost perfectly for when you come back on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. When you come back, that's when we'll make our ravioli.
Yes.
And I understand you've made some homemade sauce.
Yes, I did make sauce from scratch. We're going to talk about how to make a good base marinara sauce. It takes a while to make, about 2 hours, but once you make it, it's wonderful. Once you've done it the first time, you know how to do it and how to adjust it. So
Looking forward
it's a lot of fun to make
as well. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and go to break. Let your pasta ball set. And do you need to cover it or anything like that?
I would cover it in plastic every time. I tell my students, we wrap them in plastic and then use them the next day. But wrap it loosely in plastic so that there's no extra air inside of it, and just set it aside on the counter. Go about making your filling or start your sauce, whatever you need to do. Because fresh pasta cooks in just a couple of minutes.
Okay, sounds good. We will be right back.
Health Watch this morning, local high schoolers get a taste of what it is like to work in healthcare. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Freeman Hospital in Joplin is hosting a healthcare academy for high schoolers who want to explore different positions in healthcare. Freeman Healthcare Academy lets students job shadow different jobs to have a better understanding of what they want to work towards.
Because doctoring, it is like 12 years of school, and I don't know if that's like necessary what I want to do. So it's really good to see other options.
The participants enjoyed the hands-on learning activities and toured different hospitals' department.
We got to go see the laboratory, and I thought that was really cool because like it's kind of one of those places where it's like, what goes on behind those doors? Like, what are they doing down there?
Some of the students always thought they belonged in the healthcare field.
Since I was 5, my Nana used to work in a hospital. She was only the dietary manager, but I knew I wanted to be in this field.
The academy returned this year after a 2-year hiatus. Parents and students were excited to apply when it returned.
The feedback that we've gotten from the students and the parents are that they are very grateful to have this opportunity.
In Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The academy will wrap up on Friday with all the students receiving a certificate for their completion. That's a look at one of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, and quick check of the forecast. You can see showers, thunderstorms out there to our west and northwest, and that will be the trend throughout the day. Some severe weather yesterday left even some damage behind. We may see a few stronger storms today. Wind is the primary threat with anything we see. Temperatures looking all right as we start our day. And look at that. A lot of cloud cover in Joplin. The sun hidden behind it. 79 though already, feeling like 82. It is a muggy start for the day. All of us starting pretty muggy and mild. Take a look at the dew points sitting into the 70s. That's why it feels like it does. The air's pretty thick. Storm chances increase throughout the day. Temperatures pushing about 90 degrees with a gusty south breeze. And as we hit wrong buttons and skip things we shouldn't, as we head into the overnight, storm chances do stick around. They do increase, and we'll see lows in the lower 70s. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, a Joplin woman learns her fate after a DWI takes the lives of a couple in January of 2021.
Showers and thunderstorms really picking up across the area, as you can see, and they will stick around all day. The latest in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And gorillas will soon be tipping back some beers. Sounds strange? We'll explain.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:32. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. It is raining for a good portion of the area, and that rain will continue to overspread the area too, which is good news because we've needed it. Wide view of the Skywatch Storm Tracker. You can see widespread rain all across central Kansas, and that will eventually make its way here. Locally, we had a little thunderstorm up in Crawford County. It is all but gone now. Yesterday's weather left behind some damage reports, believe it or not, south of I-44, and we do have another small risk for some scattered, strong to possibly severe storms. Wind is the primary risk with any storms that we do see. 7th and range line, the sun rising there, hidden behind some clouds. There's a lot of that cloud cover, and it's a muggy start to the day too. 79 in Joplin, feeling like 82. We're all sitting in the 70s as we start the day today, and it is a muggy start, as I mentioned. Those dew points sitting into the 70s across the area, so the air is pretty thick, and that's because we have all this rain now. Through the day, scattered storms stick with us. Afternoon highs topping out around 90 degrees with a gusty south wind. And as we head into the night, it's going to cool off into the lower 70s. Storm chances hang around, and those storm chances will continue to hang around for the next few days. And by tomorrow, we're talking highs only in the lower 80s, the lower 80s. So where we are, roughly where we are in Joplin right now is where we're going to be come tomorrow as a daytime high.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye on that.
It's going to be nice.
It'll be nice.
Very nice.
For sure. Thank you, Chris. Well, a Joplin woman is sentenced for killing a Joplin couple in a DWI crash. Authorities say in January of last year, Rita Glasgow was intoxicated when she drove a stolen pickup into an SUV. Terry and Rhonda Koppel of Joplin both died from injuries in that crash. Now a judge has sentenced Glasgow to 23 years in prison for driving while intoxicated. Glasgow is already serving a 7-year prison sentence for other drug crimes. The sentences will run at the same time. Well, beer and gorillas are two things that do not sound appetizing in the same sentence. No, they don't. Well, KOAM's Jalen Banks shares a story that might change your mind.
Normally, when you think of gorillas, you do not think of beer, but that will soon change. Pitt State University is partnering with Jolly Fox Brewery for the school's first licensed beer. Pitt State and the Jolly Fox Brewery have been planning on this project for over a year, and they plan on releasing it this fall.
Just to create something unique for Pittsburgh. A lot of businesses work together in Pittsburgh. Creates a great community environment, and it's enjoyable for everyone.
There are over 10 universities across the country with an officially licensed beer, and this beverage is made just for Gorilla Nation. Its name, the Golden Gorilla Ale.
So, when they approached me, they kind of wondered what we should do, and, being, it's crimson and gold, I thought, a golden ale was the most opportune thing to brew. So, and it's just an easy drinking beer that's not bitter, it's not, overly flavorful, it's very balanced.
The university plans to have the ale up and running this fall for sporting events with plans to make it a staple.
We plan on working together with PSU for years to come. It's something that we can do every football season, or if we all think that, hey, let's do it year round, let's do it year round. It's nothing, there's no time constraint on this. It's not a one-time deal. We've established this relationship, so let's keep it going.
In Pittsburgh, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
University plans to sell the beverage at concessions just in time for the football season. Ronald McDonald House in Joplin is celebrating its 24th birthday. In the months leading up to the 24th anniversary, the organization launched a 24/7 support campaign. The campaign celebrates and honors the qualities shown by supporters 24/7, 365 days for the past 24 years.
So today we're really honoring our guests who are guests with us here. We have a guest that's going home with her twins. That's always a celebratory note. Yes.
To learn more about the 24-year program, you can go to the Ronald McDonald House Facebook page. Well, there's no better way to beat the heat than to create a sweet treat. And local Children's Miracle Network champion Nora Beechner created her own blizzard at Dairy Queen to promote the network's upcoming Miracle Treat Day. Dairy Queen is providing an opportunity to donate to CMN. All you have to do is buy a frozen treat from Dairy Queen today.
It's very exciting to me. I'm very glad to help other kids.
Nora's blizzard, get this, it was made of cookie dough, Oreo, caramel, and a little bit of cotton candy. Sounds like something my kids would put together. Tonight, there'll also be a car show and family fun night at the 32nd Street Dairy Queen, and that goes from 5 to 8 p.m.
Shoot, that's something I'd put together. That's a tasty sounding blizzard there. I like that.
I liked it all till we got to the cotton candy part.
You may leave the studio.
Yeah.
Cotton candy's delicious.
I just the caramel.
Oh, the whole
Loaded up
thing
with
sounds
caramel.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Cookie
wonderful.
dough and caramel. Yeah, that's mine.
Cookie dough and caramel. Oh, sure. I like the cotton candy thrown in there too. If you're doing some commuting today, if you're on the Missouri side of things, we have some slightly better chances of scattered storms, so you definitely want to watch out for wet roads. On the southeast Kansas side, a little bit of a break later today before storms continue to build back in. So again, just watch out for some slippery roads. Let's look at the 7-day forecast real quick. We haven't given it a lot of love, and it's got some love to show until next week. We got 80s tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday with rain chances sticking around through the weekend. And then by the first week of August, boy, it's going to be August. Highs pushing close to 100 again, maybe a little above 100. So,
hey, at least we're wrapping up July in the 80s. You can't, I mean, come on.
It's not bad
End
looking.
of July,
not
last
bad looking for
weekend.
July. Not
Yeah.
in the slightest. I like it.
You don't really want to plan too much stuff outdoors because of the rain, but you don't want that to mess up your opportunity to go do something.
Right. Still get out there and do stuff.
It's definitely not a weekend to stay home.
Right. And the thing is too, remember, these are scattered storm chances, so it's not going to be a rain all day event. So just, keep an eye on the radar. Make sure you have the Skywatch. This is not a phone. Make sure you have the KOAM Skywatch weather app. You can keep a look at the radar and everything, and just make sure you plan around that. But just remember, there's scattered storms, so you'll have some opportunities to get outside. There it is. See, download it in your favorite app store. Carry the Skywatch weather team with you. Carry the radar with you. Carry the local forecast with you everywhere you go.
There you go. Carry Chris with you.
I don't know that they want to, but that's what you're
Okay, carry Doug with you.
There you go. Make sure you carry Doug. Doug's the most important. Everybody knows Doug's the most important. We're just the support team. We cheer him on and get him ready for the day.
Doug. That's what we do.
That is what we do.
That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, it may finally be time for JetBlue to soar into an acquisition deal to buy Spirit Airlines.
Plus, as the cost of everyday items continues to rise, you know what else is going up? Rent. We want to know if you think you're paying too much for rent where you are. We'll let you weigh in. We'll be right back.
In Consumer Watch this morning, stocks on Wall Street rallied after the Federal Reserve hiked interest rates again in hopes of bringing down inflation. The Dow surged 436 points. The tech-heavy NASDAQ rocketed 469, or just over 4%, and the S&P rose 102 points. Matt Piper has today's business headlines.
Federal Reserve raised its key interest rates by 0.75 percentage point. Yesterday's rate hike, along with last month's, marks the Fed's most aggressive effort to bring inflation under control in more than 3 decades. Higher rates increase the cost of loans to consumers and businesses alike, raising concerns the Fed's rate-taming efforts could spark a recession. Today, the government's report on gross domestic product will show if the economy shrank in the second quarter of the year. After a months-long bidding war, the Wall Street Journal says JetBlue is coming close to a deal to buy Spirit Airlines. Citing people familiar with the matter, the newspaper says a deal could be announced as soon as today. It would come after Spirit and Frontier Airlines announced yesterday they're giving up on their merger proposal. Spirit's board supported joining with Frontier, but shareholders were expected to reject it, preferring a richer offer from JetBlue. And Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, reported its first ever decline in quarterly revenue since going public. Lower ad spending, a cooling economy, and increasing competition took a toll on Meta's sales. CEO Mark Zuckerberg says the company is slowing its pace of investments and plans to steadily reduce employee growth.
That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Chris for our something to talk about.
Now, this morning, we're discussing the high price of rent. Now, according to the realty company CoStar Group, rent prices are climbing nationwide. Now, while they're not as bad here as they are in some places, prices are still higher down here than they were a couple of years ago. Now, the CoStar Group estimates that since 2019, rent prices have risen less in Crawford County and Newton counties, but that doesn't mean they haven't risen. In Jasper County, for example, rent prices have gone up about 5%, and that can be an even tougher pill to swallow when the quality of the rental property doesn't match the quantity of the price tag. Our question to you, do you feel like you're paying too much for rent right now? So here's the deal, 85% of you say no. And honestly, if I were to vote, I'd say no too. I think the rent that we're paying in Joplin is more than reasonable for the house that we have. So you never know. Maybe we're doing all right down here. You can vote, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Do so in the KOAM News Now app. And of course, take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We are going to be back with some birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Corporal Clarence Swaim. The Miami, Oklahoma native served in Okinawa from 1944 to 1946 as part of the Army Air Force. Corporal Clarence Swaim, we thank you, today's four-state hero.
It is now time to celebrate some birthdays on this glorious Thursday, and we are starting gloriously in Independence with Felicity Huser, turning 2 years old today. Happy birthday, Felicity.
Ah, what a cute little girl. Happy birthday, Felicity. And Katiana. Do you think that's how she says her name?
I'll bet it's Tatiana.
Katiana Bond. Ah, what a sweetheart, is celebrating birthday number 4 in Riverton. Her birthday was actually yesterday.
So remember, double the celebration, Katiana. Just tell your parents, be like, hey, they said on the TV this morning I can have 2 birthdays, so you better let them know.
And speaking of double the fun, we already had one Hoosier on our list.
We have another one.
Yes, we do.
Lucy, turning 6 years old today, also, of course, in Independence. So, boy, that's got to be one heck of a birthday to have 2 kids born on the same day, but not in the same year. They're not twins. Very interesting. What are the odds of that happening? Lucy and Felicity, get out there and celebrate big today.
All right, pretty cool. And in Galena, Carson Ballard celebrating birthday number 8 this year. Somebody's been getting into the face paint, loving it. Carson is in Galena with love from Mom and Dad.
We've also got Braden Rush turning 19. Look at all of that he's managed to catch. Braden is celebrating birthday number 19 in Jasper.
And also in Jasper, Amanda Fostick turning 37 years old. Happy birthday, Amanda.
We've also got George O'Banion Jr. celebrating birthday number 39 over in Arma, Kansas. And George, this comes with love from Mama.
And if George is celebrating a birthday, that means his brother Michael is celebrating an anniversary. Sounds like somebody wanted to steal the show. No, just kidding. Michael and Jennifer O'Banion are celebrating their 14th anniversary.
So he's had to share the last 14 years his birthday with his brother's anniversary.
It looks like it.
I tell you, that's some good planning right there. We've also got some twins. Now we've got some twins, Robert and Irene Hood in Devon, Kansas, turning 80 years old today, and I imagine that's the double the party yet again in Devon. Very happy birthday to Robert and Irene. Robert Rob and Irene Hood. My goodness, I can't read sometimes.
You see all the KU?
They're still twins, though.
You
That
see all
doesn't
the
change
KU
that.
gear in this picture? We got a hat, we got a shirt, we got something on the table that was a gift. Pretty cool.
They're ready to go for this year's party, too.
Rock chalk. Liking it. All right, out in Chetopa, Richard Stapleton celebrating birthday number 82 this year. Nice picture there of Richard.
We've also got Gilbert Frobish turning 83 in Joplin. Very happy birthday to you, Gilbert.
All right, and we've got Warren Rooms turning 83 years old in Frontenac. Actually, a belated birthday wish going out to Mr. Rooms. Hope you had a wonderful day. Keep on celebrating today.
We've also got Kay Zwallen turning 87 in Wyandotte. A very happy birthday to you, Kay.
All right, and it wouldn't be a birthday without a party in the bus. Sonia Dooley, happy birthday to you. And in Chanute, Perry Davis is 64.
A lot of good birthdays today. Very good birthdays. Yesterday, apparently not many people were born yesterday, at least in our area. Obviously, globally, several people celebrated birthdays yesterday, but locally, we were just
Or maybe they didn't just send them in. And if you do have one to send in, all you have to do is submit it to us at birthdayswithan@KOAMtv.com. Please send us a picture. We like to share those too. or you can send it to birthdays at KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're there, make sure you sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. You get great deals from local businesses, and all you have to do is visit our site, sign up for that birthday club, so make sure you do it. Today, raining if you're celebrating a birthday. Unfortunately, we got widespread rain, and this is going to be making its way into our area as the day progresses. So, let's just talk about that very quick. I've got a couple of seconds. We do have another chance for maybe some strong to isolated severe storms. Tornado and hail threats both very low, but we could see some wind, which is what we saw yesterday with some of our storms. Sun is rising, looking pretty good. Starting the day, 79 in Joplin. Most of us in the 70s. It's also quite muggy. You look at those dew points in the 70s as well. And a quick check of what you're going to expect today. Thunderstorms continue all day long. Highs topping out about 90 degrees with a gusty south breeze. Overnight lows dipping off into the lower 70s with more showers and thunderstorms. And tomorrow, highs only about 80 degrees. We'll have your complete forecast and the news you need to know when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities released the name of a man who was shot in Joplin Tuesday afternoon. Police received a call of gunshots at 1201 East Hill Street before 4 on Tuesday, and that's where they found 47-year-old Daniel Samuels of Joplin with gunshot injuries. Authorities now say he is in stable condition. Police have not made any arrests. Free or reduced lunch provided by schools are a necessity for some students during the school year. But what happens when students go home for summer? The Federal Summer Meals Program has provided boxed meals to 11 sites around Kansas to help solve this hunger issue. Students or their guardian are able to pick up a box once a week from the nearest site. As of yesterday, the Girard, Kansas volunteers at the public library have served a total of 1,060 boxes to local youth this summer. A statue honoring Amelia Earhart was unveiled in Statuary Hall at the Capitol. With the addition of Earhart, the Statuary Hall collection will now have 11 women represented out of 100 total statues. Each state is represented by 2 statues, and Amelia Earhart was chosen by Kansas to replace Kansas Senator John James Ingalls. This year is the 90th anniversary of Earhart's landmark solo flight across the Atlantic, as well as the 125th anniversary of her birth in Kansas. The other Kansas statue is of Dwight D. Eisenhower. When you think of beer and gorillas, those two words may not go together, but the Pitt State is set to have its first officially licensed beer with Jolly Fox Brewery called the Golden Gorilla Ale. The beverage will be out in August, just in time for the football season. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Very quick check of the forecast. Excuse me. As you head out the door, we're sitting in the 70s with rain and thunderstorms. Those will increase. Muggy start today as well, with dew points sitting in the 70s. Going to head for an afternoon high of about 90 degrees with a gusty south breeze and increasing thunderstorm chances. And they will last all through the night and all through Sunday. Tonight's lows topping out, or dropping, I always say that backwards, dropping down to the lower 70s.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we're making fried cheese curds in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Next, California's Governor Gavin Newsom says he's taking the lead in the nation's fight against climate change. Coming up on CBS Mornings, they've got an exclusive as Newsom talks with CBS News correspondent Ben Tracy about his state's multi-billion-dollar effort.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we've got Chef Anthony heading back into the studio, and we are going to be turning our pasta that we just made into raviolis.
Make sure you check it out. That's going to wrap it up for us for now here. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.